Sometimes it's very difficult. This moment of complete and deep happiness. I mean, I'm so moved that now I almost cannot talk. I have to fight against my tears. So, I mean, it happened so many things in this stage tonight that I was completely overwhelmed. Of course, I thought that I was moved, but I never imagined that it was something like what I'm feeling now. I mean, tonight, for example, among many other things that happened here, it will remember like the first time that we could see Mikhail Baryshnikov dancing flamenco. You know what? I don't know what to say. I mean, I knew that he was a big fan of the Spanish flamenco, but I mean, I was so moved just to look at him. And I mean, all the actors and actresses that they appear in those different sequences, my God, I don't think that I was behind the camera telling them what to do. They were so perfect, even now. I mean, even now, after 30 or 40 years later, that, I mean, it's more than a compensation. It's that gives sense of all my life. And I'm not talking about what I got. I mean, I have to dedicate this award to all of them. I mean, there were many: Antonio, Penelope, Marisa, Carmen, Rossy, Emma, many wonderful Spanish actors. And this is also a triumph for the Spanish cinema. And I want to dedicate it to them. I don't know, first of all, I would like, I mean, as happy as I am here to be here tonight, I'm very worried about what is currently going on in Spain. As you may know, there is a power outage that is affecting the whole country. So my thoughts are with everyone impacted by this situation. I feel very happy, but very worried about people that perhaps tonight has to stay and sleep in one train station. So this is also for them. So, you know, I mean, I was a moviegoer, I mean, since I was a child. So it's incredible just to see, not only, I mean, to listen to the master, Scorsese, talking about me, but also just to see Betty Davis, Paulette Goddard, Bob Bridges, Jane Fonda, Kate Blanchett, Willie Wilder. I can't, I mean, even in my wildest dream, I couldn't imagine that I was, I mean, in the same Olympus with Billy Wilder. Billy Wilder is always a master, and I'm a humble student. So, I mean, it was really, I don't know what to say, except that I feel really very grateful to the Lincoln Center, because since the very first moment, as Richard Peña said, that was in 1989, that we present here in this same stage, Women in the Best of Remembrance Breakdown. I mean, they embrace my work and they embrace me. So for me, it was really very important just to shoot one of the main sequences of The Room Next Door, like in the Alice Tully Hall. So thank you. I don't know what to say. Well, I had to talk a little about my life and filmography. It has been marked by certain events. Having been born in a small village in La Mancha was decisive. And even more so, having had a Manchegan mother who transmitted me her rural culture, which turned out to be very universal, because the basis of that culture was survival and a lack of prejudices. And even though we were living in the 50s, a very dark and difficult time in Spain under Franco's dictatorship, this daily struggle was not at odds with humor. That was the first lesson I learned from my mother, also that fiction completes reality and makes it more livable. And now I think I need some water because I'm very moved too. I was also marked by the fact of being an outsider in a big city like Madrid. Thank you. Oh, well, it's kind of, I don't want, oh. Rossy, can you come? No, yes. Rossy can do it.
Third baby.
Yeah. Thank you. So, I was telling you that I was an outsider in a big city like Madrid. Like many others, I had to arrive in Madrid in search of prosperity and to be able to live my life. And we all ended up becoming naturalized Madrileños. In a rural environment, I would have suffocated. I was a strange child in my village. And whereas I was still strange in Madrid, there were a lot of people like me there. From the moment I set foot in Madrid in 1969, I knew it would be my home. Naturally, I was marked by living there between 1977 and 1985, years of bloodless transition from a fierce dictatorship to a modern democracy. A true miracle. In those years, Spanish society has access to all kinds of liberties. Oh, it is impossible to explain what that feelings of absolute liberty meant for a young person who wanted to make films. I am proof that the incipient Spanish democracy was perhaps imperfect, but it was real. I couldn't have made even one of my films if the dictator hadn't died. Before coming to Madrid, I went to Catholic schools. That was the worst time of my life, in every sense. The priest turned me into an illiterate and atheist. But, bad periods for a writer become with time very fertile. And the physical pain and my terrible academic education produced pain and glory and bad education. I discovered cinema very early on. Along with my brother and sisters, I would take my little can of charcoal to keep me warm in the bitterly cold local cinema where we saw the films. At a very early age, I never have faith in God. But I believed in everything that I saw projected on that screen in my village. That was the mirror in which unwittingly I looked at myself, and from the first moment, I dreamed of being part of that world. For me, cinema wasn't only reality. The stories I saw on the screen surpassed and canceled out reality until they made it disappear. Cinema has engulfed my life entirely, both as a spectator and director. And another element that has affected me in both senses is passing of time. I never accepted that I have turned 40 or 50, much less 60. And I am about to lie to you by hiding that I'm now in my 70s. My cinema has gradually changed almost for biological reasons. I still harbor the same desires as when I was 25, although I don't practice any of them. As Philip Roth said, old age isn't a battle. Old age is a massacre. But I've got used to it. The important thing is that I still can keep on making films. For me, telling stories is the best way to confront the idea of death. I'm talking about so many different emotion, but I don't know, since the first time I came here, I always felt New York as my city and the Lincoln Center as my home. I have no words, I said before, to express my gratitude for this award. However, I admit that there have been moments when I have doubted about coming to accept it. In the same way that I don't go to China, Russia, or North Korea, I doubted if it was appropriate to come to a country ruled by a narcissistic, authoritarian lunatic who doesn't respect human rights and whom it seems nothing can stop on his race to change the fragile world balance. Trump and his friends, millionaires and oligarchs, cannot convince us that the reality we are seeing with our own eyes is the opposite of what we are living, however much he may twist the words, claiming that they mean the opposite of what they do. Immigrants are not criminals. However much they are treated as such. Zelensky is not a dictator. Putin is. And however much Trump denies it, it was Russia that invaded Ukraine. Hunter Schafer, the wonderful co-protagonist with Zendaya of Euphoria, is a woman. Even though she was assigned with the stigma of an M for male while renewing her passport. That cruel whim by trans bureaucrats that there are only two genders does not change the nature of the human being and its sexual diversity. I think Mr. Trump, I'm talking to you. Mr. Trump, I hope that you hear what I'm going to say to you. You will not go down in history as the great peacemaker of our time. Your naivety is only comparable to your vileness. You will go down in history as one of the greatest dangers to humanity in this beginning of the century. You will go down in history as a catastrophe. Well, for a moment, I've doubted about coming here or not, but of course here I am, astonished, but immensely grateful and feeling myself privileged receiving this award, which, given the circumstances, I would like to dedicate to the thousands deported in the recent weeks, to the beautiful Hunter Schafer as well, and to Harvard University for its determination to not, that's important to say that Harvard University for its determination to not surrender to Trump's war on knowledge and culture, which remain the best weapons to fight lies and misinformation. Forgive me for being so apocalyptic. I mustn't forget that this is a party. You are wonderful. Since that day in 1989, when I presented Women on the Verse, the Lincoln Center has embraced my films, as I said, and me. Something for which I'm immensely grateful, believe me. Again, very many thanks, and forgive my impertinence.